this up. We need a little bit more action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the fun show on
Oh, I like it.
Big TV. We're
That's
back
what we need to
again.
do.
This is the October 7th edition of the fun show.
We're going to write an intro song, aren't we?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, we are.
All right,
I see the beginning
we're becoming
of
songwriters
Oh, yes,
now.
we are. That's going to be exciting.
This is the fun show. Sitting behind the Kira keyboard is Michael Sallin. Sitting between me and Michael is Kira herself, Kira Minor. And,
Lucky to
and
have.
I'm Arch O'Reilly.
Hi, Archer.
We're lucky to have you too.
And
We wouldn't know anything that was going on right now. Actually, that's not fair, because Mike spends quite a lot of time, but we wouldn't know who was dead if it wasn't for you.
Right.
'Kay.
That's true. So I'm going to announce at the beginning of the show so that I don't forget at the end of the show. But next Monday next Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day, which in the
Don't say the C word.
In the less sensitive days
Don't-
was named
don't
after
say it.
some
Don't-
Italian explorer.
Okay.
Otherwise,
you.
There's a song.
But Kira didn't like it, and so now they've changed it.
Thank you.
The interesting thing
Just
is
wait till everybody
we
changes it.
usually hold the Democratic Town Committee garden party on Indigenous Peoples Day, but this year we're not.
I can't even pronounce it.
And
Indigenous people. I'm not crazy about it, but if I use the other name, I've lost the argument.
He's part Indian. So
here's
he's indigenous.
here's the other interesting thing about that. This has in recent years always been held at Deborah Goldberg's house out in Chestnut
Shout out
Hill.
to Deborah Goldberg.
You know who Deborah Goldberg
I have no
is?
idea who she
She's
is.
our state treasurer.
Hey, I'm busy. I'm busy. I don't have time to sit around all day reading
One
the
of us
news.
knows.
Anyway,
Okay.
there was a big rumor that Deborah was going to run for Joe Kennedy's seat. Now
Okay.
that Joe Kennedy is running for Ed Markey's seat,
I think it's a good idea.
and she has decided not to, because she has decided that
To
she's
back
got
up.
a lot of things she's excited about accomplishing at the treasurer's office. She doesn't feel that she's done everything she could do there yet. And so she's decided to stick with the treasurer's office, and I think that's a good choice. And oddly to me, being the treasurer of Massachusetts, and then to me, running for Congress would be a demotion.
Well, she obviously realized that. That was a calculated decision. The idea, most people make a move. It's an up the ladder move when you do something
has
like
to move down there.
But I think that the consequences must be greater than the reward.
Or, as I remind you, a bunch of people like Seth Moulton, you run for an office you can't win because you don't want to admit you're quitting the one the people elected you to.
Yes.
Which frequently you can't understand why somebody is running for something, and the real reason is it's for generations it's been the way to finesse the fact that you said, yeah, I know I asked you for contributions and votes to get this job, but I don't like it. I'm quitting. People don't.
So I'm going to try this thing over here, and I'm never going to go back to that thing you voted for.
The only people who do that are Bill Weld and Paul Cellucci.
What about the man
Okay.
that we helped to get into the House of Representatives?
He's doing a good job.
Who?
Tommy Vitola.
Tommy
Vitola.
and he's doing stuff in schools too. And
Right,
Okay.
and he's
he was here, and we really enjoyed having him. Here.
Nice.
he's,
Did I meet him?
No, because
Okay.
it was a show that we did. This building was closed down, and we did that show from the auditorium at the high school on the stage. It was
Go any place.
That's cool.
It was pretty
I
good.
am sorry I missed that.
But we had no monitor at all, so we were sort of at a loss.
Okay.
So in any case,
Back
that's
to the
it.
days of the traveling when we were on our on the road
I
show.
love that.
That was
I love
probably
that.
one of our best
Yeah.
experiences.
Anyway, last Saturday I dropped over to the stadium to watch Harvard for the first time ever play Howard University. Howard University is the pinnacle of the traditionally or historically black colleges
Which
system.
state is it? Georgia or Alabama?
It's in Washington, D.C.
No idea.
It's in
Thanks
no
for
state.
asking.
It's in no state.
It's in no state.
Okay. All right.
Which I don't often get to answer the question that way, but it's in no state. Anyway, there were a number of things that were quite interesting. One was
That they won.
that I never saw so many black undergraduates at a football game in my entire life. That I really
That's
liked.
awesome.
They were from.
Our Harvard black
Should just
undergraduates.
show support.
They don't have too many.
Well, in our day, we didn't. No.
We
But
don't-
that volume
we
has
still
gone up
don't.
substantially.
The famous 1968 team had one.
Okay.
But in any case, the second thing that was interesting is they brought their band and their
Ah.
flag girls and their dance
Dancing.
team and
Nice.
14 cheerleaders.
They brought it.
And the whole thing.
Bring it on.
And
Put on a show.
They put on a
Yes,
big
they
show
did.
at halftime. The Harvard band graciously conceded them like 3/4 of the halftime to
and
to
they're
play
good.
on.
The Harvard band's
And
pretty darn good.
It was a very small Harvard band on Saturday,
Yes.
like half its normal number. But in any case, they put on a great show, like these Southern marching bands
They're
do,
good.
Yeah.
particularly the black marching bands do. And I was very happy that the stadium gave them a standing ovation,
Nice.
Okay.
which was
Well,
nice.
because it was deserving.
Yes,
Wait, now
yes, and also they wanted to welcome them.
It's-
Right?
it
Can I
was
start playing the violin now?
Huh?
The violin.
There's no violin in the marching band.
Oh, I
no.
was going to play one for what you're going to tell us, though.
what's coming next.
Yeah.
Is something
The
coming
one
next?
part that wasn't nice
Oh, Nelly, here we go.
is we beat them 62-17,
Oh,
That hurts.
and we didn't play any starters in the second half.
I would have.
And they got their 17 points, as I remember, in the fourth quarter when we had the fourth string defense in.
I would have got in.
But here's the problem. You put in second and third stringers who don't
Yeah.
get to play a lot, they get excited. They're on the field. They're
Absolutely.
playing.
They
They
wanna
want to
do
play.
what
so
the
why
biggies.
had they not played this team before?
Not just they change up schedules. I mean, this year is interesting. The non-Ivy League teams are playing this year: Howard, Georgetown,
Yeah,
and San Diego.
right.
And they've
Yeah.
never done this before. This
Well,
is a
they played
new.
San Diego before. They've,
Yeah.
not to my knowledge, played Georgetown before. But they like to move it around.
Fair enough. I want to talk. I want to interrupt because I
Yes.
very rarely have some news to contribute.
Go ahead.
But speaking of Harvard and the recent decision regarding discrimination
Their admission
against,
policy.
yes, a judge ruled in their favor
Right.
and
Yes.
said that it's just can't make it that big of a deal. If we start making it that big of a deal, we're going to have to make everything a really
they're
big deal.
appealing it to the Supreme
was a
Court.
tr-
Yeah, oh, absolutely. They're because it's prejudicial. It's
It
in
was-
Massachusetts. They were never going to have a fair shot
It
in
was
Massachusetts.
a very, very wonderful decision.
Yeah, I thought so.
and
Pretty good.
a great victory for everybody except the right-wing nut jobs.
And Asians.
And it had nothing to do with Asians. This
well, they-
this right-wing conservative group decided to wrap it around Asians, which was total bull. What they were trying to do was kill affirmative action for African Americans.
yes, we do
Okay.
know this.
And not one single college student testified in their favor.
Right.
And every Asian student organization
Was against
in the country put in amicus on Harvard's side.
Okay.
It's great.
All right.
And talking about good victories, in the Southern District of New York, the judge today, was it today?
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Lawyer
today.
today?
It did. It was today.
Ruled the current occupants' lawyers were arguing that the president was immune from investigation, prosecution, summoning, immune from everything,
And
no matter what crimes.
too.
And the judge said, and I paraphrase, "Get out of here."
Nope.
Said, "There's no way that
We'll be
I'm
seeing
going to
those
approve
tax
this."
returns pretty soon.
This overweening thing. Well, I don't know. Will they still go after? They may. I hope
This
they
is,
do.
this
Still
is
going
not
to their
going to
taxes.
stop. I would not stop.
They're still
I would
going to
not
the
stop. I don't care how
taxes.
long it would take. It would
Even
be
if-
the one bone that I
even
would
if-
not let go of.
Even if he quits.
Even if he quits, no, you will be exposed because there's some dirty dealing on that has nothing to do with the presidency. It has to do with
every day-
everything before the presidency.
Every day that goes by,
Something.
we get closer to the day that this guy is going to quit.
Yep.
He's going to holler like a stuck pig that he was wronged.
Oh, yeah.
But he's
going to be the
quit.
victim. Oh, he is going to be such a victim. He's going to give speeches the rest of his life about what a victim he was.
And if these people are stupid enough to come to them, they deserve it.
Exactly. Agreed. Agreed.
What about Biden and his kid? What do you think? They asked him if he's going to say a few things, Biden, about what the president is tearing him up.
Well, I mean, he's said a few things, but basically he doesn't
have time for this. It's like if he gives that any airtime, you just give DT credit, and he shouldn't get any credit for anything he has to say. Should not be acknowledged. I would just continually be like, I'm sorry. Should you really respond to anything that comes out of his mouth? I would say that on camera. I would speak to, their family. Right. Why does anyone feel like they have to acknowledge it like it's worth something?
I'll give you a simple rule of thumb. If he said it, it's a lie. Don't even worry about it.
Exactly. It does not. The more we acknowledge it, the more power. That's why this has been such a fun game for him.
I mean, it's very simple. If anything he says is a lie.
Yep. All right, wait. We're going to run out of time. We got to talk about the dead people.
We got plenty of time.
We got to talk about the dead people.
We got to talk about the dead people.
I keep trying to use this nice, refined word, necrology. And my necrologist wants to talk about dead people.
All right. Well, it seemed easier to interject with dead people than necrology.
Okay.
So we'll do it really quick because, Mike, you should be able to share some news, too. I think we're hogging the first half here.
Go ahead.
All right, so here we go. Rip Taylor, comic, 84. What do we know about him?
He's a crazy guy. He used to come on stage and throwing confetti, and he was just
very physical comedian.
Keep going.
All right, sorry. Ginger Baker, 80, drummer of the Crash.
No. Cream.
Oh, Cream. You know what? That was. Sorry, I did read this beforehand.
Very famous band.
Also worked with Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton was the lead singer of Cream.
There we go. Okay. More information.
How many people do you think remember that?
Remember Cream?
Yeah.
Probably a lot.
Generational.
Anybody who remembers the Rolling Stones before they were geriatrics will remember.
Yes, and that's exactly it. Okay, so Eric Plaskow, who is
Clapton.
No. Different guy.
No.
Different guy.
Eric Clapton did not die.
No.
Don't. You're going to mislead the public. We're going to get phone calls and letters. All right, so Eric Plaskow, 95, is the president of the United Artists, whatever, and Orion Pictures. United Artists seems to kind of fall off. Like there should be something else after it.
United Artists was like MGM or Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was actually, who was it? Wasn't it like Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford and stuff?
Yeah.
So this was like
they
back
had
then.
trouble with the studio system, so a bunch of the biggest stars in Hollywood
This is their first
started
breakout.
their own studio.
Got it.
United Artists. And it's actually now their whole library belongs to Turner Classic Movies.
I was wondering where it went after that. All right, I'm almost done. Kim Shattuck.
Wait a minute. I want to say something that's healthy.
Okay.
Before you go on to the rest of the doom.
Got it.
Everybody should take their flu shots.
Should take their flu shot.
Flu shots.
When he starts thinking about dead people, he wants to promote flu shots.
Yes, I think that's good. I'm around a baby and old people. I did not want to get a flu shot, and I'm feeling forced to it.
You really hate needles, huh?
No, it's not the needle. Anti-flu shot. And there's something about it that bothers me. And
well, it's poisonous.
And they tell you it's not going to make you sick, but a significant percentage of people do get sick from taking the flu shot.
They don't die from it.
No, but I just don't want to feel like I'm just not interested, but I'm going to have to now.
We're not really doing a public service at the moment, but I've had exactly 2 flu shots in my life.
See, and that's the thing.
Look how healthy he is.
I'm not sure how to deal with this since I feel like against it. All right, you started
you folks
it.
Should have a flu
interrupted
shot.
it for this.
I had to get it in.
Okay, quick. All right. Kim Shattuck, 56 of the Pixies. We believe it was cancer. Bill Bidwell, 98, owner of the Arizona Cardinals. And Diane Carroll, 84, known for being the first black female in a role in TV.
To carry a TV series.
Julia.
She also won a Tony Award for Porgy and Bess.
Yeah.
So most of these people are 80 plus, which
Except for one.
except for us, I said most.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
say all. So I mean, that's actually a good, healthy. People have lived a lot of
Yes,
life at that point.
yes,
None of
yes.
these are like super tragic and sad. I mean, for their families,
Right,
forgive
it's
me.
sort of like-
but
it's sort of like the-
statistically.
Sort of like the guy from Jeopardy, Alex Trebek,
Yes. Did you hear?
Who was interviewed, and he said, well, nobody's going to put in my obituary he was taken too soon. He said, I'm, whatever he is, 79
Yeah.
or something like that. And he said, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not eager, but I'm not afraid of it, So.
Well, they're talking about him hanging up his hat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on the news today that his tenure is coming to an end.
His hat is not a big part of his shtick.
But
True.
don't forget that B-17 that went down a couple of days ago.
I don't want to forget that.
Yeah,
It's
you
sad.
would think of that, but you never flew a B-17.
I did.
Oh, did you
in
really?
training, yeah.
And, okay.
And then they took
He
me
took it
off
personally.
Yeah.
They're a little hard to get out of when they hit the ground, right?
Yeah, a little bit,
But a few people did get out.
Yeah, they get out. And what-
It was a shame, but those kind of things happen. You fly 70 plus year old aircraft, right? This aircraft was built in like
I mean, what were they doing?
1945.
What was their motivation for flying it?
They want to show it off.
Oh, that was great.
No, they
That was
have
just
a
great.
thing where they have a collection of World War II aircrafts and stuff, and they take supporters and sponsors and stuff on trips, and they do a lot of them,
Okay.
And in this case,
This plane did 140 missions in Europe,
really?
and according to what I'm reading about
Yeah.
it, not getting shot down, people getting killed in it. Very lucky,
The interesting
but
thing
this
is,
day was the 13th. Go ahead.
Oh.
from what I hear,
Superstitious.
one of their engines went out of sequence.
Yeah.
There's an interesting thing about a 4-engine big plane. The two in prop rotate one way and the two outer props rotate the other way, and they run on the same cadence. They're meant to run on the same cadence. And apparently what brought it down was one of its engines ran away. Instead of stopping they could have dealt with, but it ran away. It wasn't responding to the throttle or something.
It's an old plane.
It's
of
scary.
anything,
Hey,
he shouldn't have been. I don't know. I wouldn't have gone up in it.
You take
No, I know it. And maybe I would have in the past. I would not now. I'm like, no.
I would have said no to you, and that's.
All
Well, you
right,
can't-
ladies and gentlemen, let me say that
Way
it
more to
is
talk
now
about.
time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation, scooped out of the lower section of
Took the cobwebs off. Look.
of the vault. This dates to 2007.
Yeah, not bad.
In the dying days of George W. Bush. George W. Bush, who I get happier with every day that Donald, what's his name, is president of the United States. But in any case, it is entitled Complacency. Action.
Yeah, my cousin lost his home last week.
Foreclosure?
He probably paid too much.
Credit was too easy.
Yeah, and the agents all get greedy.
Few regulations.
So, where's he living now?
With relatives, what do you think?
Still got a job, I hope.
Actually, that's folding.
I bet it's a company merger.
More like a hedge fund buyout.
Oh, then there'll be lots of layoffs.
And the stock rises.
We gotta get back to profitability.
What if he's a GI in Iraq?
Some kind of legislation to help.
I don't understand that.
At least it postpones the auction.
Can't have the family on the streets.
Wow, we already got plenty of homeless people.
1/4 of them are vets.
It's too bad.
Is it the war on terror?
George is protecting us.
What about FEMA's trailers? Yeah.
Yeah, we can't put poor. Yeah, why can't poor people live in trailers?
Because of the bureaucrats.
Something about cleaning septic tanks.
Wait a second, those trailers are all empty.
Companies got swollen contracts.
More corruption.
It's a scandalous waste of our money.
Who cares?
Taxpayers should demand answers.
Yeah, and the merchants are worried.
Not if post-Thanksgiving sales are big.
Yeah, the Puritans' public day was one of fasting and repenting.
Wait a minute. What about the big turkey and the pie, etc., etc.?
It was a spiritual event then.
Yeah. Look, prayer's important, but all that food.
That came later.
There's Lincoln encourages celebration.
Well, the Civil War didn't provide a whole lot of joy.
Not much now either.
The country seems resigned, however.
Hey, our president ain't changing his agenda.
Stay the course for victory.
The generals say the surge has helped.
Yeah. Our casualties are continuing.
4,000 dead.
Over 28,000 wounded.
Oh, but we're bringing democracy to the Middle East.
Until 2008.
Wasn't supposed to be this way, you know.
I hear the Iraqi army and police training was totally inadequate.
Shiites versus Sunnis.
The revived Taliban fighting again in Afghanistan.
Iran's nuclear program grows daily.
Iraq's parliament appears powerless.
But France's new president loves us.
And Germany's Merkel finds us valued partners.
England's Gordon Brown and EU reappraising us.
They're all nervous about China and Russia.
So, suddenly we're more than just overseas real estate.
That's always being developed.
With climate change.
From global pollution.
Polar bears could become extinct, not to change.
Too much carbon dioxide.
And oil prices are going through the roof.
Nazi scientists made gas out of coal.
I think ethanol is probably healthier.
Yeah. The electric car is even better, maybe.
And yet, it doesn't seem to matter.
Democrats pass bills for troop withdrawal.
And the president vetoes them.
Well, I like new Attorney General Mukasey.
Let me ask you, is surfing safer than waterboarding?
You have to ask our senators.
So we're changing our primary to February.
Everybody else is doing it.
Anyway, Hillary needs a breather.
Over driver's licenses for illegals.
We still can't close our borders.
Don't bring that up again.
It's a big issue.
It's a clever Republican strategy, that's what I think.
Well, but where were you eating tonight?
I don't think stand-up comics are funny.
You think they should all just sit down?
And play a banjo?
We've got enough troubles.
And these guys talk mostly about sex and race.
Rapping and rock music.
Well, kids enjoy it. Every once in a while, so do I.
Never catch me at one of those concerts.
What's wrong with Louis Armstrong?
He's great, but he's dead.
So are Mozart and Beethoven.
Kids still like Tony Bennett, like me.
But the president and the Veep went to Iraq.
Big deal.
They're younger.
Some conversation.
I'm not buying toys this year.
Grow up.
It's the lead paint.
Oh, come on, show some optimism.
And patriotism.
Right. We'll muddle through.
We always have.
But it's depressing, isn't it?
Not if you're a Republican.
Black out!
There we are, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it.
So,
Back in the ball. Or burn it.
Our esteemed leader today expressed great surprise that anyone could question his unmatched wisdom.
Brilliant.
This is his new phrase. What was his other one? Stable genius.
Genius,
right?
yeah.
Stable genius.
I like
and now
that.
he's bragging about his unmatched wisdom. I commented this to a neighbor who said, well, in that case, he's right. Nobody on earth can match the wisdom of this guy.
In one speech there at a rally, he looked up and talked about nobody but save me. You know, and he's looking up at the heavens. Yeah. So he's thinking about these things.
He's not just an autocrat, now he's God, right?
Yeah, well, he's getting there. He's doing it.
Well,
He still looks like he hates himself to me.
Remember Rick Perry, who used to be the governor?
Yes.
Well,
now he's blaming Rick Perry for the phone call.
right. And Rick Perry is the Secretary of Energy.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick Perry deserves it because Rick Perry was one of the seven dwarfs who were running against him in the primary, and he called him everything under the sun, and then he came and begged for some obscure position in his. Well, he was from Texas, so you know,
So he was pushing
being in
coal
charge
and
of
gas
oil,
and oil,
it was good for him. But now he's throwing him under the bus. And he's saying, well, I only did that conversation because Rick Perry asked me to do it, which is a little bit like saying, well, I only robbed the bank because Charlie asked me to come along,
Yep.
It's an admission that you did it. It's an admission that it was wrong. Mm-hmm. And then you try to pass it off on somebody else.
You're blaming somebody and you can take zero ownership for what you did.
But, I mean, this guy is on a confession binge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
all you gotta have to do is run the
New York
tapes.
Times says that I don't know how they figure these things. They got people that are in the get the
They got
leaks.
people, do they?
Anyways,
They got people.
They got
they got people who listen into everything, and in bar rooms and coffee shops and places.
Hang out in D.C. There's
Anyways, now
spies
they're saying the
everywhere.
president.
Are they in the barbershops?
Wants Rick
Yes.
Perry out so he can make him head of another one of these empty seats at his cabinet table. And
He wants another empty seat at his cabinet
He
table.
wants to put Rick Perry in the
wants it-
empty seat.
yeah, he wants
He's
it-
already a cabinet secretary.
He's leaving. Rick Perry is
Oh, he's
leaving.
already said, I'm gone?
Yeah, and the president said all this stuff is phony. Evidently.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Well, the thing is, anybody, I mean, he
outlasted a lot of people.
He was all over Romney.
Yeah.
Because Romney said this
yeah.
phone call was reprehensible, and
Okay.
so he's all over.
But he doesn't know what that word means. Reprehensible. He doesn't know what
Somebody told him it was bad.
Yeah, that was enough for him.
That's good.
That's
okay.
it.
So he's all
Bad is good for him.
he's all over that.
Sounds like a big word.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What do you got?
The mayor of Atlantic City, after stealing $87,000 from the youth basketball fund in
What's he
Atlantic
thinking?
City.
Does he think he's the mayor of New Bedford?
The FBI went in.
my goodness.
Yeah, the FBI went into his house, found all this money. They didn't have bags big enough to carry all the cash out.
What do you have it stuffed in the wall? Or
Yeah,
or
they don't want to get into
dresser
that.
drawers or
But I
Pretty much
thought it was
everywhere.
reminds me of that guy, the one who in Illinois, who was trying to sell
Your
Obama's
old friend?
Yeah,
Blagojevich?
Blagojevich.
Okay.
And they got all kinds of stuff on this guy also.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you haven't thought of Governor Blagojevich recently enough to remember his name.
The president
I'm
likes
amazed
him.
I remembered his name.
The president likes him. He says he shouldn't have been.
He hasn't pardoned him yet, though.
Not yet. Well, maybe before. Okay, go ahead.
He pardoned that sheriff down
Oh, don't talk.
there.
Don't. And then he's now running again. He's running again. That's
He is
the,
running.
Yes.
He's running
Oh
again.
my
Everybody
gosh.
He's like 112,
Yeah.
and he's running for the office.
We gotta keep those murderers out of our country that are on the border crossing. That's what it is.
Well, I don't know. I'd trade him for 5 of them right now. Thanks.
Were you going to show this, or was this to remind yourself?
No, this was just there to remind me. There will be no show next week because it is Indigenous Peoples Day, and I invite you all to attend the closest powwow in your neighborhood.
Oh, have you ever been to an Indigenous People Day powwow?
Yes, but not in this neighborhood.
Okay.
That happened.
No.
What, the
What?
president?
I worked
Yeah.
worked cattle very close to the Pine Ridge Reservation many years ago. Actually,
He was living
now that
out
I
there.
think of it, it was 60 years ago.
Wow.
Well, he lived on a ranch out there.
Okay. So that means you know how to milk cows
I lived
and
on
stuff.
a horse.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we didn't milk those cows.
Okay.
We chased them around with a horse.
Got it. What's your last thing you want to talk about before we run out of time?
The president wants to have bayonets for the soldiers out down there.
Oh, that's right. We haven't commented on his great idea of a moat full of alligators
and snakes, poison snakes.
I just go.
and flesh-piercing points on the top of his
See,
wall.
still talking about somebody who does not deserve to be talked about.
But here's the
These
funny
are
thing:
important- these are
this
important
whole
things
idea
to
is
know about.
borrowed from
But could we be using our time better?
low-class science fiction stuff.
The movies that are going to come out from this are going to be insane. Bye, everybody.
If we exist.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in 2 weeks back here at the Fun Show on Big TV.
Okay, good.
Good night and good luck.